I'm Steve Etches. We're here at the Etches Collection, and what I'm going to do is actually talk about this specimen here. This is the most complete, the best preserved Jurassic Pliosaur skull you'll see to date. This is the top of the food chain predator. It's the largest reptile that ever lived in the Kimmeridgian seas. The date of it is about 153 million years old. This initial find was made by a chap called Philip Jacobs, who actually was fossil collecting along the beach. As he was walking along, he saw what he thought was a bit of wood embedded in the shingle, then looked a bit closer and found it was actually the snout of a pliosaur. What does this pliosaur represent? So aspects of it is, this different is actually this, what we call the parietal crest. You see here, it's a raised bit at the middle of the skull, and in front of it is like a hole, and that's the parietal eye that actually they reckon it's got a lens, and it can see light and pressure, and it can feel pressure from above. The other extraordinary things is it's a load of pits all along the snout there, which they've now CAT scanned and realised they go back in 2 channels back into the brain. So they're like pressure pads to pick up on any movement in the water, and perhaps they could pick up on any electrical discharge of the reptile they're following. Now you see in the film that they're sort of following it like that. I don't think that's the case. I think they sort of lie at low level and charge, like a pike does, and just actually charge at this thing, whatever it's after, and then grabs it and bites it. The teeth are very characteristic because they're triangular in shape. And in the collection we find bite mark bones with those triangular impressions. So we know that these things are feeding on other reptiles, even the youngsters. We've got juvenile pliosaur bones with pliosaur bite marks in as well. So we know they're opportunist feeders. They're probably feeding on the dead reptiles and also live prey as well. It was a very powerful animal indeed. And of course, when you look at the teeth, they're sharp. They've got 2 sharp cutting edges. They're designed to cut, crush. Everything that a predatory reptile's got, that's got it in those teeth. So it's the top of the food chain, the largest carnivorous reptile that's ever lived, so that's been described as. And this is a 2 meter, well, nearly a 2 meter long skull, but we found bones and parts of the skull of much bigger animals, and we think they had skulls at least up to 3 meters long. But because they're rare in the fossil world, because they're probably, as you look at a lion, pride of lions on the Serengeti, there's lots of prey animals, but only a few lions. This is the same in the reptile world in the Jurassic seas. We think it's likely to be a new species. Now, why do we say that? Well, there's certain characters that lend that. In point of fact, we talk about that parietal crest, which we've not seen that high before. Also, along the jaw line, the bottom jaw, normally the teeth end at the front of the eye socket, and this one ends at the back of the eye socket. So that's really something quite diagnostic and interesting. It may or may not be a new species. We think it is, but until you do all the research and see what's been found before, we can't say that. So how did it die? Well, the postcranial skeletons there, still up in the cliff, which we hope to extract one day if we get necessary permissions and the funding to do it, that may give us an idea of how it died. In other words, if it's been attacked by another pliosaur, bigger one, we really don't know, but certainly that's the only way we're going to find out. There's no other evidence locked into that skull at the moment to tell you how it sort of died. The reaction of the public's been immense. The scientific community, that's not kicked off yet, really. There's not a lot of scientists or vertebrate paleontologists have been here to look at it. So we await that. Research will go on for years, so discussion with this one will go on for years, what it represents. But with the public, yeah, we've had over 500 through every day. So for us, a small museum like this time of year, yeah, it's quite fantastic. But what we've got in the collection now, with this as well, makes it the foremost museum with a collection of Kimmeridgian material that no other museum can rival.